who teach the Bible don't look upon themselves as agents of biblical criticism or exposure. Quite the contrary. Most do whatever they can to keep contradictions under wraps or minimize their importance. Rest assured that the poor, misguided human beings sitting out in the pews are certainly not going to hear what is wrong with the book. Instead, they're going to be subjected to a totally biased presentation, and that is precisely what has been occurring. Bucaille continues by saying, quote, "People are astonished when they discover these contradictions because they have been influenced by the reading of commentaries that provide subtle explanations calculated to reassure them and orchestrated by an apologetic lyricism. In other words, they've been led down the primrose path by a melodious-sounding explanation that's often nothing more than a masterpiece of obfuscation and deception." Bucaille then refers to, quote, "the skill employed by certain experts in camouflaging what they modestly call difficulties," quote, unquote. Fortunately, Bucaille is one of those astute critics who is able to recognize the subtle use of the word difficulties as a smokescreen. Biblicists rarely refer to problems within the Bible as contradictions. They are marketed under the euphemisms of difficulties, discrepancies, or problems. Of course, any reasonably unbiased observer can easily see that they are not just discrepancies, but major contradictions in direct conflict with one another. In summary, and based upon what we have seen so far and that which is to follow, one can't help but conclude that apologists are often little more than con artists preying upon the troubles, sorrows, deprivation, and biblical unsophistication of their fellow man. A friend of mine once compared propagandists selling the Bible to used car dealers selling automobiles because both ply their trade through deception and exaggeration. But that's an unfair and totally invidious comparison, because it's little more than a slander of used car salesmen. At least they provide you a product that can be tested. How do you test the existence of heaven or hell? At least they give you a guarantee, even if it's only for 30 days, that can be enforced by law and relied upon. What guarantee do you have that you will rise from the dead, other than that found in some words in a book? At least used car salesmen give you something that is tangible and can be immediately touched. What does Christianity or the Bible provide in that category? You can't even take the product out for a test drive. At least you can ask questions of used car dealers and receive audible replies. When's the last time you heard God, Jesus, or the Bible's authors speak? At least you can observe the used car salesman's face as his promises unfold. When's the last time you saw God's face or the faces of Jesus and those who manufactured the Bible? At least a used car salesman doesn't deny an obvious contradiction between his statement that a car is running fine and the fact that neither one of you can get it started. At least you can take your product back to the used car salesman if you're dissatisfied. What do you have from the Bible or Christianity that you can return in order to get your money back? And lastly, at least the used car salesman gives you something that can be seen as a fraud before it's too late. With the Bible in general, and Jesus in particular, you don't know you've been taken until it's too late, and after you have donated substantial amounts of time, effort, self-denial, and funds. As far as money specifically is concerned, many church leaders spent a considerable amount of time giving people the impression that religious spokesmen are synonymous with the Almighty when it comes to money. When you give to the church, your giving to God is the subtle message they seek to convey. After all, isn't the building called God's house? A used car salesman, on the other hand, doesn't seek to give people the impression that a purchase of his vehicle will be looked upon favorably by the Almighty. That completes our presentation, and please join us later for the 6th edition of Biblical Errancy Commentary, when we'll continue showing why the Bible is nothing more than the flawed composition of some fallible human beings. Thank you for listening.